Some crimes refuse to fade with time. Years pass, seasons change, investigators retire, and witnesses disappear, but the mystery stays alive. These cases are the most chilling not just because of what happened, but because no one was ever held responsible. Somewhere the truth is still hidden, locked inside silence. These are the cold cases that remain unsolved, stories that continue to haunt families, communities, and the world. In 1947, a man's body was found on Somerton Beach in Australia. He carried no identification, his clothes had their labels removed, and no one ever came forward to claim him. Inside his pocket was a scrap of paper with the words, "Tamam shud," meaning, "It is finished." Investigators discovered strange codes, secret phone numbers, and possible links to espionage. Decades later, despite countless theories, the true identity of the Somerton man and the reason for his death remain unknown, making it one of the eeriest unsolved cases in history. In 1974, the brutal murder of the Grimes sisters shocked Chicago. Two teenage girls went missing after going to watch a movie. Months later, their bodies were found miles away. A man falsely confessed, then recanted, and was never charged. Police made early mistakes and vital evidence was lost. More than 50 years later, no one knows who killed them, and their case remains a haunting reminder of justice that never came. In 1966, a killer calling himself the Zodiac began terrorizing California. He sent letters to newspapers, mocked police, and included cryptic ciphers that remain unsolved to this day. Several suspects were investigated, but none were conclusively linked to the crimes. The Zodiac killer vanished without a trace, leaving behind fear, unanswered questions, and a mystery that still chills investigators decades later. In 1996, 6-year-old JonBenet Ramsey was found murdered in her family's home. A strange ransom note written inside the house confused investigators from the start. The case became a media circus, with suspicion falling on family members, friends, and possible intruders. Despite DNA testing and multiple investigations, no one has ever been charged. Years later, the truth behind JonBenet's death remains hidden behind controversy and silence. In 1982, a family of 4 was brutally murdered in a cabin in Keddie, California. The crime scene was violent, yet several people in the house were mysteriously unharmed. Early police errors destroyed evidence and key suspects were ignored. Although possible confessions and weapons surfaced years later, no arrests were made. The Keddie cabin murders remain one of the most disturbing unsolved family massacres in America. In 2004, college student Maura Murray disappeared after a car accident on a quiet road in New Hampshire. When police arrived minutes later, she was gone. There were no confirmed sightings, no physical evidence, and no clear explanation. Some believe she ran into the woods, others suspect abduction. Nearly 20 years later, her disappearance remains one of the most baffling missing person cold cases ever recorded. In 1992, 19-year-old Asha Degree vanished from her home during a stormy night in North Carolina. She was last seen walking alone along a highway in the early hours of the morning. Her backpack was later found buried miles away. There was no clear motive for her to leave, and no trace of what happened next. Decades later, her case remains a heartbreaking mystery. In 1980, a burned body was discovered in a remote valley in Norway. The woman, later known as the Isdal woman, carried multiple fake identities. Labels were removed from her clothes, and evidence suggested possible espionage. Despite modern investigations and renewed interest, her real identity and cause of death were never fully explained, making her case one of Europe's most chilling unsolved mysteries. In 1990, 3 young boys were murdered in Robin Hood Hills, Arkansas. 3 teenagers were convicted, but years later, serious doubts about the evidence led to their release. With the convictions overturned, the case returned to being unsolved. The real killer has never been identified, leaving the brutal crime unanswered to this day. In 2007, 3-year-old Madeleine McCann disappeared from a vacation apartment in Portugal while her parents were nearby. The case triggered a massive international investigation. Suspects came and went, theories rose and collapsed, but no definitive proof ever emerged. Years later, her disappearance remains one of the most high-profile unsolved cases in the world. What makes these cases so chilling is not just the violence, but the silence that followed. Someone knows the truth. Someone walked away. Someone lived a normal life while families were left with questions that never stopped hurting. Cold cases like these remind us how fragile justice can be. One mistake, one missed clue, or one lie can allow the truth to disappear for decades. Even with modern technology, some mysteries refuse to be solved. For the families, time does not heal the pain. Every birthday, every anniversary, every passing year reopens the wound. Closure never came, answers never arrived. Only silence remained. Investigators often return to these cases, hoping new technology or a brave witness will finally unlock the truth. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. Until then, these cases remain frozen in time. As we reach the end of today's story, remember that these victims were real people, not just mysteries. Their stories deserve to be remembered, even if the truth has not yet been revealed. If these cases disturbed you, that feeling is exactly why they matter. Silence allows crimes to be forgotten, but telling these stories keeps hope alive. Thank you for watching. If you believe in truth, justice, and remembering the forgotten, please like, share, and subscribe. Because some mysteries never die and some truths are still waiting to be discovered.